The 13-inch M1 MacBook ProApple refreshed the entry-level 13-inch MacBook Pro models in November 2020, adding an Apple-designed M1 ARM-based chip to replace the prior Intel chips. M1 chips bring significant speed and efficiency improvements. Apple is selling the new 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro models alongside the higher-end and more expensive 13-inch MacBook Pro models with Intel chips that were introduced in May 2020. The 16-inch MacBook Pro models with Intel chips are also still available and have not yet been updated with M1 chips. The M1 chip is Apple's first system on a chip for Mac that integrates the CPU, GPU, RAM, and more altogether. The M1 has an 8-core CPU with 4 high-efficiency cores and 4 high-performance cores along with an integrated GPU that has 8 cores. Compared to the prior generation MacBook Pro models, the new M1 MacBook Pro's CPU is up to 2.8x faster and the GPU is up to 5x faster. Machine learning tasks that use the neural engine are up to 11x faster, making the MacBook Pro quicker at ML-based features like face recognition and object detection. With a new storage controller, SSD is up to 2x faster, with the M1 MacBook Pro able to be configured with up to 2 TB storage. Apple introduced a new active cooling system in the M1 MacBook Pro to eke out more processor performance while also ensuring quiet operation. As with the prior entry-level 13-inch MacBook Pro models, RAM maxes out at 16 GB, but the higher-end models that continue to have Intel chips are configurable with up to 32 GB RAM. Battery life in the M1 MacBook Pro models is much improved, offering up to 17 hours of web browsing and up to 20 hours of video playback in the Apple TV app. There are no external design changes to the MacBook Pro and it continues to feature the same aluminum body with large Force Touch trackpad, speakers at the side of the keyboard, and 13.3-inch display with slim black bezels. The MacBook Air comes in silver and space gray color options. The display features a 2560 by 1600 resolution, 500 nits brightness, P3 wide color support for vivid, true-to-life colors, and true tone that matches the color temperature of the display to the ambient lighting for a more natural viewing experience that's easier on the eyes. Apple's M1 MacBook Pro includes a 720p FaceTime HD camera, which is the same as the camera in the prior model, but Apple says the M1 improves picture quality with better noise reduction, better dynamic range, and other features. Like the Intel MacBook Pro models, the M1 MacBook Pro features a Magic Keyboard with a refined scissor mechanism that's more reliable than the previous butterfly mechanism, offering up to 1mm key travel for a stable key feel. There's a touch bar at the top with touch-based controls and a Touch ID fingerprint sensor that can be used to unlock the Mac, make purchases, and more, with Touch ID protected by the Secure Enclave.